Hi, I wanted to tell you my experience with carbon monoxide poisoning. I think it's really important that people hear about this because it's something that can sneak up on you when you're not expecting it. And I just kind of want to explain the process of what I went through when I was with a student and how we finally realized what was happening and how long we were into the flight when it happened. So, my experience is it was a windy day, it was cold. Uh, Windy, turbulent outside, and I was going to go do some hood work with a student. He was training for his IFR. And it wasn't the best day for training because of the turbulence, but he wanted to go anyway, so we figured we'll give it a shot and see how it goes. So we go to do our run up, and every now and then, because of the wind and the turbulence, you can get a little whiff of exhaust in the airplane. But I've had that several times before, and it's normal with the wind pushing the exhaust back into the plane, especially if you have the door vented to get some circulation or whatever. So I didn't think anything of it. We did our run up. Everything was great. Everything ran great. We took off and we went out to the practice area. And it was probably about 5, 6, 7 minutes to get out to the practice area, and we started doing some maneuvers. Now, he was just beginning his IFR training. So we were trying to get him under the hood, doing some maneuvers, standard rate turns, things like that, climbs, descents, just the basics that we were working on. And it was pretty turbulent outside, and we were bouncing around a lot. And usually when it's that turbulent outside, people kind of get nauseous under the hood, and the lesson doesn't last very long, but he wanted to continue doing it. So we were out there, and I noticed that every now and then I would get just a little whiff of exhaust. Again, this has happened to me before, flying a plane just because of the strong winds and everything. And depending on where the wind is coming from, if there's any openings in the planes or vents or something, the exhaust can push through a little bit. But it wasn't a real strong smell of exhaust. My student also had one of those stickers that you put on your dashboard that has a little yellow circle in it, and it turns brown or it turns dark if there's carbon monoxide, and there was nothing there. But we did have the heat on because it was pretty cold outside. So after about 10 minutes maybe of doing this, he was starting to get a little dizzy and not feeling quite right. And we kind of thought it was because of the turbulence, and I told him it is normal because of the turbulence to feel this way, especially if you're under the hood, because a lot of people under the hood, they will get more nauseous than they would normally, and especially with the turbulence in there. So I was chalking it up to that at that point. He said, yeah, can I just take off the hood for a minute and relax for a minute? And I said, sure. And I go, open up the window, just relax a little bit. And I go, I'm not 100% sure, but it's possible we might have carbon monoxide coming in here. I'm not 100% sure. I smell it every now and then, but again, it's gusty out, and your carbon monoxide detector looks good still. And I'm feeling fine. I didn't feel dizzy at all. So I figured it was just because of the turbulence and him being under the hood. So he took off the hood. We opened the window, and he said, okay, I feel better now. Let's do this. And I'm like, okay. Puts the hood back on and closed the window back up, and we're starting to do the maneuvers again. And probably about 5 minutes, maybe 7 or 8 minutes into it, he started getting dizzy again and not feeling so well. And he goes, yeah, I'm not feeling well. And I go, I think we should go back to the airport. It's possible that we might have carbon monoxide, because if you're still feeling it, and I go, I'm feeling okay. I feel a little dizzy, but it could be because of the turbulence too, because when I'm bouncing around a lot in moderate turbulence, I get a little dizzy myself. And but I said, let's not take any chances. Let's just go back to the airport just in case. And we'll just come back another day when it's smooth outside. It's better to be safe than sorry. So we headed back to the airport. And on the way back to the airport, he asked if I would mind flying the airplane. And I said, no, I don't mind. And he goes, yeah, I'm just not feeling right. And I don't even know where the airport is right now. And I pointed it out to him, and he goes, yeah, I need air. So in the meantime, we closed the vents and we opened the window just in case it was carbon monoxide poisoning. I wasn't getting any more dizzy than what I was a little bit, just a little bit. And so I still thought it was a possibility, even though the carbon monoxide detector was showing that there was nothing there and I wasn't really getting any worse at all. So I didn't want to take the chance. So we closed the heater and opened the vents and on the way back and everything. And he wanted me to land the airplane. And I said, okay. So I landed the airplane. We got back. It was like, I don't know, the whole flight was 20 minutes probably. And we landed the airplane and taxied off. And I opened up the door just to get some air in there just in case. And as I opened the door, I just got this sudden rush of dizziness that came over me as the door opened. I don't know what caused it with the door, the swishing around or something that just did it, or a sudden rush of oxygen or whatever it was. But I felt a little bit dizzy just suddenly, just from opening the door. And I asked him how he felt, and he said, oh, I feel a lot better now. I'm still a little off, but I go, do you want a taxi back? And he said, sure. So he taxied the plane back to the hangar, and he's taxiing fine. I felt fine, a little dizzy, but nothing major. Nothing more than any other turbulent day would make me feel anyway. So we taxi back to the hangar, and we get out, or I get out first, and I get down off the wing, and then he gets up to get off the wing too. And it looked like he was like he was going to stumble and fall off the wing for a second, so I kind of was by him just in case. And he said, I'm fine. So he gets down, and he gets the tow bar out of the baggage compartment. And I said, how about this? I'll steer it back into the hangar. You could just help me push on the front of the wing to get it back in. He goes, okay. So I walk around to the front, hook up the tow bar. He's getting on the front of the wing, getting ready to push, and we're just about ready to push. And I look up, and from the back, I see him wobbling, and he's just kind of wobbling a little bit. And then it looked like he was actually going to fall, and I dropped the tow bar, and I ran over to him. And just as I reached him, he fell. And he's a big guy. He's like 240 pounds, and probably the same height as me. I'm 6'3". He's probably 6'4", maybe. And so he's pretty big, and he fell. And as he's falling, I'm kind of helping guide him down so he doesn't fall on the asphalt and hit his head. But he fell down. His head came back. I had my hand on the back of his head, keeping him from hitting the cement. And all of a sudden, he's shaking, and his eyes are rolling back in his head. And I was like, called. There was a guy, a line guy that worked at the airport. I knew him. I actually did his instrument training for him a couple of years earlier, and I knew him well. I knew his name and everything. But for some reason, I couldn't think of his name, but I knew we had to get an ambulance or something because he's laying on the ground shaking. And I couldn't think of his name, so I just yelled out, hey! And he called back, what? And I go, call an ambulance. And he goes, what's wrong? And I go, carbon monoxide poisoning. And he goes, how do you know? And I go, I know. just call. So he called an ambulance. And then just as I'm looking back down at my student, he starts, snapping out of it, and he sits up, and I go, we got an ambulance coming. And I go, just stay down here. And he goes, I'm fine. And he sits up, and he starts to stand up, and I go, maybe you should just wait. He goes, I'm fine. I feel good. I'm fine. So he gets up, and he's standing by the wing. And I'm okay. You ready to push it back in? And he goes, yeah. So just as I'm about to turn around and go back to the tow bar, he starts wobbling again, and then he falls again. And he wasn't rolling back in his eyes, or his eyes weren't rolling back in his head, and he wasn't shaking like before, but he just kind of fell back. And so we went through the same kind of thing. He starts to get up right away again, and he didn't want to he didn't want to sit down, and he got up one more time. He starts to fall again, and I yelled at him at that time, and I go, just stay down. And I go, I'm getting dizzy. I remember I'm in the airplane with you, and I got carbon monoxide too, and I'm getting dizzy just going up and down trying to catch you and keep you from hitting your head on the cement. And so he finally stayed down. He just sat there, and I go, just breathe, just take deep breaths, just sit, just relax for a little while. Got an ambulance coming. They can check us out, make sure we're okay. And a couple minutes later, ambulance pulled in, and by then we were both walking, talking, and he was fine at that point. And we wanted to go in the ambulance just to get checked out, just to be sure. And we walk into the ambulance, and we're sitting in the ambulance, and they're doing the carbon monoxide tests, see what your level of carbon monoxide is and everything like that. And they did him first because I thought it was more important they do him first. So we're sitting there, and they asked what happened, and I told them, and I said I'm pretty sure that's what was happening, carbon monoxide. And as I'm sitting there talking to them, that's when I noticed that I couldn't feel my hands. They were numb all the way up to like my forearm, and my feet were numb and they were tingling. Both my hands and my feet were tingling, and I didn't even feel like I had much sensation in them. I didn't even feel it. I didn't even notice it was there. I don't know if it was the adrenaline or whatever from him falling down or being worried about him, but I didn't even realize it until we were in the ambulance. So we both got tested. They told us that at 12% carbon monoxide, you should go into get oxygen and to help you restore your oxygen. He said you don't have to. He goes, it'll come back by itself in a few hours or a couple days. He said you'll be 100% in a couple days by yourself without going in for oxygen or anything. And we both felt fine at that point. We were able to walk and talk, and we weren't really dizzy anymore. Our head was off a little bit. But so we elected not to go to the hospital and just to stay there, and then just let it go away naturally because we were functioning at that point. So it turned out that his oxygen or his carbon monoxide level was 26%. And mine was 19.8%. I don't know why he had more than I did. He was a little bit bigger than I was by maybe 10 pounds. But I probably think it's because he was doing the work. He was the one under the hood. He was the one concentrating and trying to learn new things, and he had more thinking and breathing going on, maybe nervous just being under the hood as it was. And I was more relaxed because I've done it a million times. So maybe that's the difference. He might have been just breathing heavier. But the fact that I was at basically 20% and he was at 26%, and we were in the plane at the same time, and he fell down on the ground, I literally could have been the same way in another 5 minutes. So if I didn't decide to turn back and go toward the airport when I did, suspecting that it could be carbon monoxide, even though that little carbon monoxide detector didn't show it, then we might not have made it back. We could have both been unconscious on final coming into the airport. So I'm glad that something pushed me to go that way and head back toward the airport, even though we had a sign saying it wasn't. We still had little hints that it possibly could be. And so we made the right choice. We went back, and so we called our wives to come and get us because we didn't want to drive home. We didn't figure it'd be safe. I canceled my students for a while just to make sure we're 100%. The guy at the ambulance told us we'll be fine and 100% normal in 2 days. So I didn't fly for a couple days, and just to make sure. But I actually felt better that night. I felt completely normal, but I figured I'd wait anyway. So they finally found it. It was a hole, not a crack. It was a little hole in the muffler, and it was hidden somehow. But he got the muffler fixed, and we went on another flight, and we got a carbon monoxide detector this time, and it was going off. So he ended up having to bring it back. There was still a leak somewhere. It took him a couple days to find it, but there was another leak somewhere in there too. It wasn't just the hole, because they fixed the hole, but it was still leaking somewhere else also. So they finally found that hole or the leak or whatever, and they fixed it. Also, I'm pretty thankful that we found it too, because he was talking about going away to flying to Nashville, Tennessee for the weekend with his wife and his daughter, and that could have pretty much ended pretty bad, because if I didn't fly with him that day, it was like a Wednesday or Thursday, and he was going to go Friday or Saturday. They might have been up there, and he could have passed out on the way, and it wouldn't have had a good outcome. So I'm glad that we found that, and he did say he's thankful that we found it when we did too, and he did notice that, and it's normal, but kids always fall asleep in the plane, but he did notice his daughter, the past couple times they were flying, was sleeping in the back more than she normally does. So that's probably why. So it's a kind of a scary thing to think about, but I'm thankful that we found it, and that nothing happened to either one of us, and he's okay, and I'm okay, and his family's okay. So I just wanted to share that experience with you. Don't always trust those little tags. I wouldn't trust them at all, to tell you the truth. I took one of those tags, and we literally held it behind the exhaust pipe of my car and let my car run for 5 minutes, just holding it there, and it never changed color. So don't trust those things. We get the digital one, and that works a lot better. Sometimes it's a little too sensitive, but I guess it's better than not having it at all. So that's my story. Be careful. If you suspect it at all, it's better to just stop and check it out, to make sure there's no issue. If it's windy and gusty out, you're going to smell exhaust sometimes, I can guarantee it. So it doesn't always mean there's exhaust leaking, but just so you know, I just wanted to share the experience with you. So fly safe.